So in Kanda 1 mainly we saw Swarga Vargaha, that is related to Swarga, Naraka, what exactly is seen, gods and so on. Then Vyoma Vargaha, Dhi Vargaha, different arts. Then about Patala, hell and so on. Second Kanda that is there mainly revolves around, you can consider earth. So Bhumi Vargaha, for Bhumi itself, land, whatever you see on land. Then you have Pura Vargaha. Puravarga is not, I'm just telling you just in detail, we'll look at the meanings later. Puravarga has nothing but maybe you can say cities, places, markets, shops and so on. Next, you have things that we use in our everyday household. For example, broom, stairs, a bag, a cupboard, all that comes in Puravargaha. Shailavargaha, mountains or nature, stones, mountains, caves, all that comes in Shaila Vargaha. All this is a part of Kanda 2. Vanaushadi Vargaha, Aushadi, herbs and shrubs, that is all included in Vanaushadi Vargaha. Next, so Kanda 2 is the biggest out of all the three Kandas. Then you have next Kandam, that next part, if you see, it is now in this Vargaha, Vanaushadi Vargaha, you also have the mention of different vegetables and so on. So everything, whatever you find on the ground, herbs, shrubs, creepers, plants, everything is included here. So things that we find on the land, that is all present in this second class that is there. So it can be nature or things that we use in our you can say everyday things, or maybe birds, flowers, fruits, vegetables, everything forms a part of this Vargaha. Next you have Simha Vanaushadi Vargaha. Next is Simhadi Vargaha, list of animals. Next Manushya Vargaha, man, woman, girl and so on. Wife, daughter, son, all that comes here. Next, so basically if you see Amarkosha, why it is three Kandas is just as we have three worlds, Swarga, Bhumi and Naraka. Like that you have the division that is there. So first level, second level, third level. Now we cannot be very apt on this, like 100% you cannot consider this, little it can be up and down. But usually now you would have seen first whatever we saw was different qualities that are there, then about gods, things that we find in heaven, then little bit mention of Naraka, and to some extent animals and so on. That is what we find in hell, fish, water, things in nature, all that we find. Second mainly Kanda focuses on things that we see on the earth, that is Manushyas, trees, animals and so on. This is, so the earth, the second Kanda, because it consists of things that are found on earth, that's the reason why it is quite big. Then body parts and things that are there in our body, like blood, nerves, for that also you have a list of all that. Flesh, bones, all that is also mentioned in second Vargaha. The different body parts, Sharira Vayavaha, that is also mentioned in detail in Skanda 2. Then the different ornaments that we wear, rings, earrings, bangles, so everything that is related to man, that is all mentioned here. Next you have Brahma Vargaha. That is also, Brahma Vargaha is nothing but Brahmachari and so on. Brahmacharya Ashrama, things related to that. Brahmachari, then the four Vargas that are there. Brahmacharya Ashrama, Grihastha Ashrama, Vanaprastha Ashrama, Sannyasa Ashrama. Then who exactly is a person who practices Vedanta, for that rishis, names of different rishis and so on, that is mentioned. Next, for Grihastha Ashrama, you have the person who does the different sacrifices and so on, he is called a Yajamana. So words related to that, yajna, sacrifice, yajamana, all that is mentioned in Varga 2. Next, you have the different dhanam or different duties that are to be done, like Pitrudhanam, Brahmadhanam and so on, all that is mentioned here. Then you have the mention of different sages that are there, Valmiki, Vishwamitra, Kaushika, Vyasa and so on, Parashara, all that is mentioned here. Next, you have Kshatriya Vargaha. So in Brahma Vargaha, you have the mention of all sages, Brahmanas, practice of Brahmacharya Ashrama, Vanaprastha Ashrama, everything. So everything related to sages and Brahmacharya Ashrama is a part of Brahma Vargaha. Next you have Kshatriya Vargaha. Kshatriya Vargaha consists of different kings and maybe things related to administration, royal duties, Raja Dharma and so on. All that is mentioned here. Hunting, that is all included as a part of Kshatriya Vargaha. All this is a part of Kanda 2. I'm just giving you an introduction. We'll see everything when we look at the meanings in detail. Next, you have Vaishya Vargaha as usual. Vaishya Vargaha, the business class, Krishi and Pashupalyam. This is the main part. Vaishya Vargaha. Vaishya Varga, if you see page number 39 of Kanda 2 PDF, Vaishya Vargaha mainly consists of people engaged in agriculture and animal husbandry, that is rearing of animals, and mainly you can consider small scale or cottage industries, that is nowadays we have, right, home based business and so on. So basically on a small scale, all that is a part of Vaishya Vargaha. Next you have in Vaishya Vargaha you also have the mention of everyday items that we eat, like for example the spices. Now whenever we cook, we have a lot of spices, right? Maybe it can be jeera or chilies, maricha, then black pepper, all that. So all that is also mentioned here. For example, if you see 2.8.1245, page number 41 of the PDF, जीरको जरणो जाजी कणा प्रश्ने तो जीरके is nothing but the jeera that we put in food. So all this is mentioned here. Then you also have next line, ardrakam shringaberam syadata chhatra vidunnakam. Ardrakam, ginger, so the different spices that we put, and also shunthi is basically drumstick, another word for drumstick. This is on page number 41 of Kanda 2 PDF. So like this mention of different spices. So if you see, Amarkosha is like we call it as a thesaurus. So that means any word that you imagine that you can find in Kanda 2. In the entire Amarkosha, Kanda 2 mainly focuses on things that we find in general all around us. Next, basically you can consider Kanda 2 to be very much relatable to our lives, because it consists of things, everyday things, which usually it can relate to eating or maybe moving around, seeing what we see in nature, animals, man and so on. Next, you have different occupations that are mentioned here. For example, a buyer, a seller. Now mainly things with, now Vaishya Vargaha is business, right? So it has got a lot of mention about selling things. So what exactly, how it is being sold and so on, all that is also mentioned here in Vaishya Vargaha. Next you have Shudra Vargaha. Shudra Vargaha is nothing but the different services that are provided. For example, Kumbhakaraha, Tantuvayaha and so on. Kumbhakaraha is nothing but a potter. Tantuvayaha, person who takes care of handloom and so on, so like a tailor. Then Shilpi is a sculptor. Then Chitrakaraha, artist. Charmakaraha, cobbler and so on. So like this, different occupations or people who provide services, all that is mentioned in Shudra Vargaha. Next, you have, with this Shudra Varga, Kanda 2 comes to an end. So this has what been mentioned here in Kanda 2. So the gist of Kanda 2, if you consider, right from the beginning, it talks about the earth, Bhumi in general. Then it talks about herbs, shrubs, trees, creepers, animals, man, things associated with a human being, be it body parts, internal organs, external organs. Then it talks about each of the different Vargas: Brahma Varga, Kshatriya Varga, Vaishya Varga, Shudra Varga. Brahma Varga, different stages, Brahmacharya Ashrama, the 4 ashramas and the 4 stages of life. Kshatriya talks about different kings, their kingly duties, royal duties, administration related. Vaishya Varga talks about business and different occupations. Shudra Varga talks about different services and the duties of the people belonging to each of these classes. So this has been mentioned. You also have the mention of few spices and so on, which we use in our everyday life. So this is the gist of Kanda 2 that we have. Okay, so now what we'll do is, we will start. Before that, we will practice Skanda 1 from Patala Bhogi Vargaha. If you see, we had learnt earlier, the audio was there till Natya Vargaha. So it is the chanting part we will practice, and then we continue with Kanda 2 we start learning. And then from next time we will look at the meanings. From Nandi we have to look at the meanings from Swarga Varga, that is Kanda 1. Okay, so for now everyone remove the text of Kanda 1 Patala Bhogi Vargaha. I'll share my screen.
हरे कृष्ण दोस्तों, आपको पता ही होगा कि कोविड के दौरान लगभग 5 लाख लोगों को
Kanda 2 we start learning. Now for Kanda 2 there will be no Mangala Shasanam, nothing. It is just at the starting. So usually if you see, people continuously chant Kanda 1, Kanda 2, Kanda 3. But together in one go also we cannot chant everything. But it is like a continuation only. So therefore you will not have different Prastavana, Mangala Shasanam and so on. Only the first shloka if you see, first two lines, Varga Bhedaha. That is what exactly is there in this Varga, that is told. Varga of Prithvi, something related to earth, Pura city life and so on. Kshmabrit Vanaushadi Mrigadibhi. Vana Aushadi, that is herbs, shrubs, trees, animals, birds. Then Nru, about man, Brahma, Kshatra, Vit, Shudrai, all the four classes. Sangoparai, Sangopangai, Rihoditaha, that is consisting, mixing all these four people. We look at the meanings too later. For now you can just remember this, that everything that we can see around in our normal world and things, everyday life, whatever we have things, all that is included in this Varga. Start learning. Amarkoshe Dvitiyam Bhumyadi Kandam. So everything that is related to this earth, Bhumi, that is located, that is mentioned here. First, Varga Bhedaha. Varga Prithivi Purakshma Brit Vanaushadi Mrigadibihi Nribrahma Kshatra Vitshudraihi Sangopangairi Hoditaha. Varga Prithvi Purakshma Brit Vanaushadi Mrigadibihi Nribrahma Kshatra Vitshudraihi Sangopangairi Hoditaha. Shambhavi. Varga Prithvi Purakshma Brit
Varga Prithvi Purakshma Brit
Vanaushadi Mrigadibihi
Vanaushadi Mrigadibihi
Nribrahma Kshatra Vitshudraihi
Brahma Kshatra Vitshudraihi
Sangopangairi Hoditaha.
Sangopangairi Hoditaha.
Just one second, Shambhavi, hold on. Yeah. Sorry. Shrikari, continue. Varga Prithvi Purakshma Brit
Varga Prithvi Purakshma Brit
Vanaushadi Mrigadibihi
Vanaushadi Mrigadibihi
Nribrahma Kshatra Vitshudraihi
Brahma Kshatra Vitshudraihi
Sangopangairi Hoditaha.
Sangopangairi Hoditaha.
Varga Prithvi Purakshma Brit Vanaushadi Mrigadibihi Nribrahma Kshatra Vitshudraihi Sangopangairi Hoditaha. Bhumi Vargaha. Bhur Bhumira. Now Bhuhu is one word, so therefore Bhu is the first word, in fact, of the Amarkosha. That's the reason why nowadays you can say in a normal conversational language we use the word Bhumi, but initially or in many of the texts that are there, literature has reference to Bhuhu. Bhu, because it is the first word that comes in the Amarkosha and it is another word for land. That's the reason we say Bhudevi. More than Bhumi Devi, we say Bhudevi, that is goddess earth. So Bhu is a word which is used very commonly, especially in, you can say, in literary language. In literature this word comes a lot. Normal conversational language we commonly say Bhumi. So Bhur Bhumirachalānanta Rasa Vishvambhara Sthita Dharadharitri Dharanihi Kshonirja Kashyapi Kshitihi. Bhurбhūmirachalānanta Rasa Vishvambhara Sthita Dharadharitri Dharinihi Kshonirja Kashyapi Kshitihi. Shriram. Bhurбhūmira
Bhumira
Chalananta
Chalananta
Rasa
Rasa
Vishvam
Vam
Barastita
Pradita
Dharadharitri
Tadadhariti
Dharanihi क्षोणिर्जा
Choditsa
काश्यपी क्षितिः
Kaspishiti
श्रीविद्याजी भूर्भूमिरचलानन्ता
Bhurбhumirachalанanta
रसा विश्वम्भरा स्थिता
Rasa Vishvambhara Stita
धराधरित्री धरणिः
Dharadharitri Dharanihi
क्षोणिर्जा काश्यपी स्थितिः
Kshonirjya Kashyapi Kshitihi.
Now here this is of course my personal assumption, what I feel, why here the word has come Kashyapi. I could not find the reference in much books. Now the meaning for Kashyapi as per the Amarkosha, it means land, that is one thing, but there can be one more meaning why it is called as Kashyapi. The reason is, you have the legend goes, sage Kashyapa and sage Parshurama. Parshurama, as we know, 21 times 7, that way 21 times 7 into 3, 777. This is how he removes Kshatriyas, or he kills Kshatriyas from this world. At that time what happens is, there was a lot of land which had come under his control. Now in those times what happens is, whenever you kill a king or so, or you defeat a king basically, that land also comes to you. So, and a lot of blood and so on. Now when a battle takes place, a lot of killing. So therefore, if you see, legally the land did not belong to Parshurama. It is because the person was defeated, so now it does not belong to anyone, so it has come over. And Parshurama, being a sage, it so happened that he did not wish to have all this. So he gives to Kashyapa, the Kurukshetra land, which is today in Haryana. He goes there, he meets Kashyapa, and he gives away land, a lot of land, all this kingdom that is there, to Kashyapa. Says that I don't want this, I am a sage, what will I do of this land also? He gives away to Kashyapa. Now Kashyapa is also a sage, but then Kashyapa knew the anger of Parshurama. He told, this person has defeated the Kshatriyas 21 times. If I refuse, he'll kill me also. So then Kashyapa, he hands over everything to Kashyapa. So the one, so that can be one reason, because Kashyapa had a lot of land also. Therefore, land or bhumi can be associated with the name of Kashyapi, like the literally you can consider as a daughter of Kashyapa. But later Kashyapa also does not take away land much. He distributes it equally, and that's how we have the different pieces of land mass that is there all over India. He also does not rule over anything. Kurukshetra, though he considers to be a Pavana Bhumi that is there, still now it so happened that in Kurukshetra, now this is not related much here, but still because the topic has come, I'll tell you. It seems that Kurukshetra, because of the Mahabharata Yuddham that took place, even there the ants and snakes also were very very devoted, it seems. He saw a lot of ant hills there in Kurukshetra, and it seems that there was like so much of dharma they used to follow in Kurukshetra. Once, now usually you see snakes sometimes go inside ant hills. So there was a female snake, it seems, and another male snake. So a female snake and a male snake, they were staying there, and a third snake comes there. This is another legend that is there. A third male snake comes. So a female and a male snake, there is a family who's staying together, and another male snake comes there, and it's inside the ant hill. He too wishes to go, but it seems that the female snake inside. So it is like, if you remember the story of Gautama and Ahalya from the Ramayana reference. That is when Gautama sages away, Indra himself disguises as Gautama, and then Ahalya feels that it's her husband Gautama. Later Shapa Moksha and so on. Shapa she gets, Rama comes. That's this somewhat similar story. It so happened that the female and male snake, they used to live together there in an ant hill. The male snake was not there at that time when the third snake came in. It was not there in the ant hill. The third male snake, that's the third snake who was there, he tried to enter the ant hill of this snake because he wanted to get into a relationship with the female snake. The snake inside the ant hill said that I am already married, I am a pativrata snake, that's the reason you should not enter. Kashyapa was a witness to this. He said that in this land where animals, or even not even animals, you can consider reptiles and creatures like snakes are also following dharma, I don't have to worry about legal and illegal things at all. This bhumi itself is very very pure. So this is the story that is there. So even the snake, the female snake told the third person snake who comes there, that the stranger snake who came, that I'm already married, I already have a male snake, he is just gone out now, but therefore you should not enter my ant hill. The same thing just as Sita tells to Ravana and so on, but Ravana does not listen and that leads to his end. So the importance of Ekapati Vrata, Ekapatni Vrata has been, you can say, a lot of significance has been given in this Kshetra, Kurukshetra, or which is there in today's Haryana. So therefore Kashyapa was a witness to this. He feels very happy. That is because he was in tension that Parshurama gave away land which was all illegal. It did not belong to him actually. Whatever he had got, he had defeated kings, so everything got on to him. And now Kashyap, at least if it comes to Parshurama tomorrow if a case also takes place, Parshurama can tell, no, I defeated the king, so therefore his land I got. But what in the case of Kashyapa? Kashyapa is the third person, he has got nothing to do with it. So he is in tension, he keeps thinking about it, what is this, what will I tell? But he could not tell anything to Parshurama knowing his anger. But then, so he was worrying and he was thinking. At that time, all this conversation takes place in Kurukshetra. He saw a witness to the snake incident and he feels, he's relieved that this Bhumi, this entire land of Kurukshetra and ultimately this Bharata Desha that is there is very, very pure. People follow Dharma here. The country is known for Dharma. Even snakes also follow Dharma in this land. So what to think about people? Therefore, I can accept this land very nicely and move about. So that can be one reason why land, because it is associated with sage Kashyapa, has got the reference of Kashyapi here. Of course, now this is all like, it will not be in paper also, but maybe through folklores, sometimes it comes just as Dasharatha Dasharatihi, Vasudeva Vasudevaha, similarly. So that way Kashyapa, Kashyapi, this, because of this story there can be a reference, because Kashyapa is associated with land also. Okay, so just this story I remembered, so I told you. But this also, though now with in case of the Amarkosha you can, Kashyapi is another word for land, but you must know about the, you can say, how the land of Kurukshetra is very, very pure. The Mahabharata Yuddha that took place there, animals also follow Dharma there. That is what is believed. So through all these stories, or you can say all folklores, whatever it is, you consider maybe in some Purana or somewhere there will be the mention of this, but still through this story what we come to know is the land, our land is known by virtues or rules which have been followed even by creatures, it seems. Okay, let's continue. So I hope everyone got the story, right? You understood how the name came in about Kashyapi? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Bhum. So maybe you can, not much, but then you can relate it to the recent debates that are going about, right? What exactly is Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, this, that, or so. So our land is so which even animals used to follow Dharma, and today maybe we are fighting that Dharma who should follow and it is injurious and this, that, whatever comments people are making. Of course, let's not get into that, but then all these stories are there wherein even creatures also used to follow. Now one more doubt can come to your minds. Let us be very, you can say very practical. We will lose a lot of time if I tell you all this. Anyways, now you might be wondering how come animals follow all this, or even you have people asking, questioning, how come Hanuman even, how can animals speak, how can monkeys speak, and so on. All these questions come in, right? Or Hanuman also, how did he leap, how can he jump, is he a bird, how can he fly in the sky, is he a bird? Now if you see, for this there are many reasons. The body, first of all, the physical characteristics are different. Kali Yuga, as we were discussing in some other class also recently, Kali Yuga lifespan is 100 years, height 6, some people are more than 6, beyond that it doesn't go. The Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga rules were different. That's the reason Rama was almost 8 feet high. So everything was different. His lifespan was more, his height was more. So characteristics can be different. Just because today such characteristics are not there, we cannot compare. Secondly, Hanuman, Sugriva, all these monkeys, they are not mere monkeys that we see today. They belong to a category of something called Homo sapiens. You can say early man, Stone Age man that was there, who looked somewhat like a monkey. Today we have evolved into full human beings. So they were in the category of between of monkey and man. That's the reason they could speak. That's the reason they were fully man. Only thing is, they had all the characteristics of a man. Only thing, the facial features, tail and so on. Maybe you can consider the body. The physical characteristics were there of an animal, but remaining the mental capacities and so on were like a man. So Hanuman belonged to this category of Homo sapiens or so, whatever you call. So that's the reason he could speak. All the monkeys, in fact, of those times, they could speak like human beings, they could also behave. Secondly, now, then how can Hanuman jump? How can Hanuman fly in the sky? Is he a bird? Hanuman did not fly. It seems that Hanuman could leap over long distances. Now in the TV serial or movie, if you see, they cannot show someone leaping, right? That's the reason they show that he could fly. But then it seems that he could leap and jump over long distances. That's the reason very easily he could cross over the 100 Yojana ocean and go about. Though it took some time for him, still he could leap long distances. Even Jambavan also has this ability. Clearly he mentions in the Ramayana. But then he says that due to old age I cannot do this. Angada says I too have this ability, but once I can go, there's no surety that I'll come back. At that time all the monkeys say there is no use. You go once, that is fine, but you have to come back, right? If you don't come back, you stay there, then it's of no use. So this is Angada's capacity. So he could also leap. So basically it is not flying in the sky, it is leaping or jumping that is there. So these are all characteristics. So here also that the snake that I told you, it too might belong to maybe a species. Now there are today a few animals or few species which are extinct, like maybe dinosaurs and so on. So that doesn't mean maybe 50 years later we cannot say that dinosaurs were not there. Who told dinosaurs are there? Nothing. There's nothing called dinosaur. You don't know that there were dinosaurs, therefore you cannot comment that way. It is the same thing that is applicable here also. In fact, in the Ramayana only you have the reference which talks about Jatayu himself when he talks about various species of birds, animals, snakes and so on. How, in fact, from the Puranas also you have a reference how, even the Vayu Purana and so on, recently few of us we saw together, how different species of animals, birds and so on have come. They have come from the daughters of Daksha Prajapati. Each of those daughters, they give birth to a species. For example, in the case of Garuda, Garuda's mother is Vinata. She gives birth to eagles. His own stepmother Kadru gives birth to serpents. In Surabhi, she gives birth to cattle, horses and so on. So that's how different creation, everything comes in. So even Anjana Devi, for that matter, mother of Hanuman, she was a she monkey also. She was actually an Apsara, Punjikasthala, who was given a curse. Now that too, what is a curse? Does anyone know the curse given to Punjikasthala, Anjana Devi? No one?
She'll be born as a monkey.
Monkey.
Female monkey.
Yes. The reason being, why this curse was given is, she was playing in water, it seems. At that time there were a few rishis coming in. She did not notice them and she splashed water on them. So the rishis were there nearby. They say you are doing monkey antics. Here and there you are jumping, splashing water just as monkeys do. You will be born as a monkey. That's how Apsara Punjikasthala, she was reborn as Anjana Devi. But of course, even though she got a monkey birth, she was blessed with the child of Vayu. And there also now there is another story. Okay, now we are getting deviated. Let's not go too deep. The point that is there is Anjana Devi and Kesari, it seems that biologically they could not beget children. That's when they prayed for many years together. They could not beget children. Many years together they pray to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva ultimately says that I'll bless you with a child who will be my Amsha. But then biologically, physically they could not give birth. It seems that they had some problems even in those times, just as we have fertility issues and so on. So at that time Vayu Bhagavan comes there. Nowadays you have something called IVF or so on, wherein the sperm is injected from outside. That's a third person sperm comes in. Same thing Vayu Bhagavan does, and that's how Anjana Devi. So an Amsha of Vayu. That's the reason he's called Vayu Putra. So Vayu's genes are put inside, and that's how the birth of Hanuman takes place. So all these reasons are there. So why I'm telling you all this deep explanation, though it is not related here, is if something has been mentioned, there is surely a reason for this. And why I told you so much in detail is, tomorrow someone comes and asks us, or maybe to satisfy ourselves, we should know everything properly. If you don't know, our own children might ask us, grandchildren might ask us, we ourselves might have a doubt. So when we have a doubt of things, then it is like everything seems to be magic. How Hanuman flies in the sky, or how come he's born like this, how come he has got two fathers. In fact, if you see in the case of Hanuman, he has got three fathers: Lord Shiva, Lord Vayu, Lord Kesari king. But everyone has their own purpose that is there, right? So if you don't know, then if you don't know the proper reasons and proper story behind everything, then there's a lot of doubt that comes, and then that's where we stop believing, right? We feel everything is magic. So therefore knowing everything in detail is very, very important. Okay, so here that's the reason why the point is, now coming back to the main topic. So therefore when you feel that how snakes also can talk about dharma is, maybe there was a time when there were species which had human characteristics in them, but and a little bit of snake features, like we have Hanuman and so on. So basically you can consider a mix of two different species that is there. Okay, so let us continue. Hope I did not bore you with my explanation. Okay, let's continue. भूर्भूमिरचलानन्ता रसा विश्वम्बरा स्थिता धराधरित्री धरणिः क्षोणिर्जा काश्यपी क्षितिः सर्वं सह वसुमती वसुधोर्वी वसुन्धरा गोत्राकुः पृथिवी पृथ्वी क्ष्मावनिर्मेदिनी मही सर्वं सह वसुमती वसुधोर्वी वसुन्धरा गोत्राकुः पृथिवी पृथ्वी क्ष्मावनिर्मेदिनी मही सुन्दरेश्री सर्वं सह वसुमती
सर्वं सह वसुमती
वसुधोर्वी वसुन्धरा
वसुधोदी वसुन्धरा
गोत्राकुः पृथिवी पृथ्वी
गोत्रार्थं पृथिवी पृथ्वी
क्ष्मावनिर्मेदिनी मही
मावनिर्मेदिनी मयि
सर्वेश सर्वं सह वसुमती
सर्वं सह वसुमती
वसुधोर्वी वसुन्धरा
वसुधोर्वी वसुन्धरा
गोत्राकुः पृथिवी पृथ्वी
गोत्राको पृथिवी पृथ्वी
क्ष्मावनिर्मेदिनी मही
क्षामनिर्मेदिनी
क्ष्मावनिर्मेदिनी मही
क्ष्मावनिर्मेदिनी मही
सर्वं सह वसुमती वसुधोर्वी वसुन्धरा गोत्राकुः पृथिवी पृथ्वी क्ष्मावनिर्मेदिनी मही विपुला गह्वरी धात्री गौरिला कुम्भिनी क्षमा भूतधात्री रत्नगर्भा जगती सागराम्बरा विपुला गह्वरी धात्री गौरिला कुम्भिनी क्षमा भूतधात्री रत्नगर्भा जगती सागराम्बरा रमाजी विपुला गह्वरी धात्री
विपुलागवरीदात्री
गौरिला कुम्भिनी क्षमा
गौरिला कुम्भिनी क्षमा
भूतधात्री रत्नगर्भा
भूतधात्री रत्नगर्भा
जगती सागराम्बरा
जगती सागराम्बरा
वसुधा विपुला
विपुला
गह्वरी धात्री
गह्वरी धात्री
गौरिला
गौरिला
कुम्भिनी क्षमा
कुम्भिनी क्षमा
भूतधात्री
भूतधात्री
रत्नगर्भा
रत्नगर्भा
जगती सागराम्बरा
जगती साम्बराम्बरा
विपुला गह्वरी धात्री जगति गौरिला कुम्भिनी क्षमा भूतधात्री रत्नगर्भा जगती सागराम्बरा मृन्मृत्तिका प्रशस्ता तो मृत्सा नोट द वर्ड मृत्सा च मृत्तिका उर्वरा सर्वसस्याढ्या स्यादूषक्षारमृत्तिका मृन्मृत्तिका प्रशस्ता तो मृत्सा च मृत्तिका उर्वरा सर्वसस्याढ्या स्यादूषक्षारमृत्तिका राजेंद्र कुमार जी मृन्मृत्तिका प्रशस्ता तो
मृन्मृत्तिका प्रशस्ता तु
मृत्सा च मृत्तिका
मृत्सा च मृत्तिका
उर्वरा सर्वसस्याढ्या
उर्वरा सर्वसस्याढ्या
स्यादूषक्षारमृत्तिका
स्यादुषश्चारमृत्तिका
राजन जी मृत्तिका प्रशस्ता तु
मृत्तिका मृत्तिका प्रशस्ता तु
मृत्सा मृत्स्ना च मृत्तिका
मृत्सा मृत्स्ना च मृत्तिका
उर्वरा सर्वसस्याढ्या
उर्वरा सर्वसस्याढ्या
स्यादूषक्षारमृत्तिका
स्यादुषसारमृत्तिका
मृन्मृत्तिका प्रशस्ता तु मृत्सा मृत्स्ना च मृत्तिका उर्वरा सर्वसस्याढ्या स्यादूषक्षारमृत्तिका ऊषवानु note here u and nu everything is dirgha ऊषवानुषरोद्वाव द्वावपि we can break that द्वावपि अन्यलिङ्गौ स्थलं स्थली समानौ मरुधन्वानौ द्वेखिला प्रहते समे ऊषवानुषरो द्वावौ द्वावपि one second द्वावप्यन्य so द्वावपि अन्य correct द्वावपि अन्यलिङ्गौ स्थलं स्थली समानौ मरुधन्वानौ द्वेखिला प्रहते समे अनुराधावि ऊषवानुषरो द्वावपि
ऊषवानुसरोत्वापि
अन्यलिङ्गौ स्थलं स्थली
अन्यलिङ्गौ स्थलं स्थली
समानौ मरुधन्वानौ
समानौ मरुधन्वानौ
द्वेखिला प्रहते समे
द्वेखिला प्रहते समे
मीनाबि ऊषवानुषरो द्वावपि
ऊषवानुषरोद्वावपि
अन्यलिङ्गौ स्थलं स्थली
अन्यलिङ्गौ स्थलं स्थली
समानौ मरुधन्वानौ
समानौ मरुधन्वानौ
द्वेखिला प्रहते समे
द्वेखिला प्रगदे समे
yeah now here I think it should be ऊषवानुषरौ dvapi or dvapi. I think there is some error here. I have to just check. I'll check and I'll let you know in the next class. This line someone just underline. You just make some star mark or so. So we just see how the break.
can be dvau api
Dvauvapi or dvavapi. Yes, even I am also confused there. I'll just check in some one or two books. I'll let you know. Yeah. ऊषवानुषरौ द्वावप्यन्य let's stand together द्वावप्यन्यलिङ्गौ स्थलं स्थली समानौ मरुधन्वानौ द्वेखिला प्रहते समे त्रिष्वतो जगति लोकः ब्रेक से विसर्ग विष्टपं भुवनं जगत् लोकोऽयं भारतं वर्षं शरावत्यास्तु यो वधेः त्रिष्वतो जगति लोकः विष्टपं भुवनं जगत् लोकोऽयं भारतं वर्षं शरावत्यास्तु यो वधेः Rajendra Kumar ji त्रिष्वतो जगति लोकः sorry you chanted right yeah sorry Madhusudan ji you chant त्रिष्वतो जगति लोकः
त्रिष्वतो जगति लोकः
विष्टपं भुवनं जगत्
विष्टपं भुवनं जगत्
लोकोऽयं भारतं वर्षं
लोकोऽयं भारतं वर्षं
शरावत्यास्तु यो वधेः
शरावत्यास्तु यो वधेः
उषायर जी त्रिष्वतो जगति लोकः
विश्वतो जगति लोकः
विष्टपं भुवनं जगत्
विष्टपं भुवनं जगत्
लोकोऽयं भारतं वर्षम्
लोकोऽयं भारतं वर्षं
शरावत्यास्तु यो वधेः
शरावत्यास्तु यो वधेः
त्रिष्वतो जगति लोकः विष्टपं भुवनं जगत् लोकोऽयं भारतं वर्षं शरावत्यास्तु यो वदेः देशः प्राग्दक्षिणः प्राच्य उदीच्यः पश्चिमोत्तरः प्रत्यन्तो म्लेच्छदेशः स्यान् मध्यदेशस्तु मध्यमः देशः प्राग्दक्षिणः प्राच्य उदीचः पश्चिमोत्तरः प्रत्यन्तो म्लेच्छदेशः स्यान् मध्यदेशस्तु मध्यमः श्यामला जी देशः प्राग्दक्षिणः प्राच्य
देशः प्राग्दक्षिणः प्राच्य
उदीच्यः पश्चिमोत्तरः
उदीच्य पश्चिमोत्तरः
प्रत्यन्तो म्लेच्छदेशः स्यान्
प्रत्यन्तो म्लेच्छदेशः स्यात्
मध्यदेशस्तु मध्यमः
मध्यदेशस्तु मध्यमः Thank you, जी.
थैंक यू रम्या जी देशः प्राग्दक्षिणः प्राच्य
One second, जी. देशः प्राक् दक्षिणः प्राच्य
उदीच्यः पश्चिमोत्तरः
उदीच्य पश्चिमोत्तरः
प्रत्यन्तो म्लेच्छदेशः स्यान्
प्रत्यन्तो म्लेच्छदेशः स्यान्
मध्यदेशस्तु मध्यमः
मध्यदेशस्तु मध्यमः
देशः प्राग्दक्षिणः प्राच्य उदीच्यः पश्चिमोत्तरः प्रत्यन्तो म्लेच्छदेशः स्यान् मध्यदेशस्तु मध्यमः Chant from the beginning. वर्गाः पृथ्वीपुरक्ष्माभृत् वनौषधिमृगादिभिः नृब्रह्मक्षत्रविक्षूद्रैः साङ्गोपाङ्गैरिहोदिताः भूर्भूमिरचलानन्ता रसा विश्वम्बरा स्थिता धराधरित्री धरणिः क्षोणिर्ज्या काश्यपी क्षितिः सर्वं सह वसुमती वसुधोर्वी वसुन्धरा गोत्राकुः पृथिवी पृथ्वी क्ष्मावनिर्मेदिनी मही विपुला गह्वरी धात्री गौरिला कुम्भिनी क्षमा भूतधात्री रत्नगर्भा जगती सागराम्बरा मृन्मृत्तिका प्रशस्ता तु मृत्सा मृत्स्ना च मृत्तिका उर्वरा सर्वसस्याढ्या स्यादूषक्षारमृत्तिका ऊषवानूषरो द्वावप्यन्यलिङ्गौ स्थलं स्थली समानौ मरुदन्वानौ द्वेखिला बृहते समे त्रिष्वतो जगति लोकः विष्टपं भुवनं जगत् लोकोऽयं भारतं वर्षं शरावत्यास्तु यो वधेः देशः प्राग्दक्षिणः प्राच्य उदीच्यः पश्चिमोत्तरः प्रत्यन्तो म्लेच्छदेशः स्यान् मध्यदेशस्तु मध्यमः. So time is up. We'll stop here. We have learned till 2.1.16. We continue on Monday.